Hello and welcome to my vlog. My name is Julie and I'm coming to you from just north of Glasgow in the UK. It's April the 28th and this is episode 23, I think, of my vlog, which is about sewing, knitting, sometimes patchwork, sometimes crochet. Thank you so much for joining me and for subscribing and commenting. It's really nice to have your company. Today I have, I think, 2 finished items and some chat about other plans and things I would like to make. What I'm wearing is a go-to t-shirt pattern for me, which I made 4 years ago. And it's a rib type fabric, which I bought at Abakhan, that I've mentioned before, in Rhyl, North Wales, where they sell fabric by the weight, so by the kilo, or you can buy, there's lots of fabric on the roll as well. Well worth a visit if you have an Abakhan near you. So I made this quite a while ago and this is the pattern. It's a Burda pattern, Burda 6990, with various combinations, and it's quite a straightforward make. I use my overlocker a lot to make these types of stretch fabrics. I think I'm just going to lower the camera a little, see if that's a bit better. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Right, so I have my list to try and keep me on target, and I've already noticed this is episode 24, not episode 23. Hey ho. Right, so my first finished item is the cardigan I was working on last week, and I thought this was, I wasn't sure whether or not I would finish it. So thank you so much for the people who commented that I should persevere and that it'll work out okay. And I'm really pleased I did finish it. I'm going to add a little video here, so I'll just say bye for now and add the video. Come back in a sec. Hello. So just a little video of me wearing it rather than me moving the chair, whatever. So I'm pleased with it. Really glad I finished it. It is a super chunky pattern. So don't know how much wear it's going to get this end of the year. This is the pattern. And it's a free download via Ravelry, and there is an accompanying video, I think, which don't think I delved into that too much. One of the things I dislike about knitting a cardigan, not that I've knitted many, is picking up the stitches on to add the button band. Now, it wasn't too bad on this knit, whether or not that's because it's a chunky and it's not, I suppose, the neatest of makes, but that was fine. I didn't mind doing that. And it's a cropped style for me, because I didn't know how much yarn I would have left. Plus the sleeves aren't super long, but that suits me. I don't really think I suit big baggy things, hence why I undid the jumper that I made. And I will try and add a photograph of the jumper somewhere here if I still have it on my phone. Not sure if I deleted it. What else is there to say? The buttons are a nice grey button, which I grabbed off Free Cycle a couple of weeks ago. Somebody was giving away some craft items, and amongst them a lovely whole box full, and these of buttons, and there was a whole array of grey ones that would have suited this Cardi. These are perhaps just over an inch in size, but excuse me, they work really well, and lots of fun sorting out the buttons. Who doesn't like sorting a box of buttons? Anyway, I did have a set for the Cardi, the baby Cardi I made last week as well, from in here. Not that there's a dearth of buttons in this house. I do have loads of buttons, but I couldn't resist asking for them on Freeside. So that's where the buttons came from. What else is there to say? What's left? I did have the bag to hand, and this is I suppose like a tote bag I made years ago, which had lots of use, goes in the wash, just out of curtain fabric. And let's see, that's all I have left. So I could have possibly done the sleeves a little longer, but I'm not undoing them. They're fine for me. I didn't want really long sleeves. I've not blocked it, which I don't think I will, because it is quite thick. And how long would that take to dry? I was going to find the band. I'm sure I've got the band somewhere. And it does have wool in it. It isn't just an acrylic. There's a mix of wool and something else. I'm not going to go hunting now because I'm not quite sure where it is, but I have kept the button band, and I think I bought it online. As I've said before, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of chunky yarn, but it's made now, and I will get much more wear out of that than I would have with the big baggy jumper that was hanging on me. So really pleased I made it. I finished it, and it's done, and it may be for next winter now. We'll see, but really, really pleased with that. So I'm going to tick that off my list. Nothing else to add on that. Excuse me while I have a sip of coffee. It's coffee time here in north of Glasgow. So the second thing I finished, only 2 finished items this week, don't think it's going to be a really long vlog, is another Sashiko panel. Sashiko? Anyway, and this is the red on white, which I'm really pleased with. It's looking very neat, and it'll go alongside the navy to go up in our kitchen, and I'll put 3 together. And somebody mentioned in a comment about not being happy with their hand stitching and not thinking their hand stitching is neat enough. I'm exactly the same. I don't think my hand stitching is fabulous, but this, you just follow the printed pattern on the panel, and I did use a Sashiko needle. and you know, this is cotton and it's quite an open weave. I watched a bit yesterday of Susan Briscoe, where I bought some of these items from, on YouTube. Can't remember which forum it was, Sewing Street or something, anyway. And she was talking about the weave of the fabric is quite open, which allows for, I suppose, ease of making. It's not like a really tight cotton fabric. So I would go for it if you're interested. It is quite a calming make. You know, I've been a bit het up this week because I do get het up. And coming and doing half an hour of this is quite a calming activity because you just follow the pattern. So pleased with that. Framed with a thin mount using double-sided sellotape. And I'm now going to go on to I'm calling it mustard. It's not really mustard. I don't know what it is. Taupe. Anyway, that's going to be my next one. And I'm using a navy on that one. And then I'll have a triptych, 3 in a line, and they'll go up in our kitchen above a shelf. I'll take a photograph of them when they're up. Not sure if that one took me 2 weeks going back and forth. Obviously, you could do it in a couple of days if you dedicated the time to it. So not sure how long this one will take. And I don't have the frame yet. I had the frame for that. So I must order the frame. But I'm looking forward to that, particularly doing the mustard on the navy on the mustard colour. So that's my next Sashiko, right? And it got me thinking about embroidery. Now, I don't think I've done any embroidery over the years. And I've been a bit not lacking in confidence, I suppose, about doing embroidery. But that's given me a bit of confidence. And I do have a few embroidery sets. I have loads of embroidery thread. And I do have, and again, I've left them in another room, some embroidery magazines, which I bought in a charity shop a while ago. So I'm going to try some embroidery this week. I have the hoops and I also have a little light box, but I'll talk about that next week if I get the embroidery done. So that's the Sashiko has made me think about doing embroidery. So that's quite a good thing. Just have a last look at the panel and then I'll move on to something else. So that's the panel. And I'm really pleased with it. The other one I did was a navy with white. I would recommend these. I bought some at the Glasgow Quilt Show and some the mustard online and some extra yarn online. As I said, Susan Briscoe has a good selection of Sashiko panels, but she didn't have the mustard colour, which I particularly wanted. So that's my Sashiko, and I'm going to tick that off. What I'm on to now is another granny square blanket using what I'm calling fancy yarn from my late mother's stash. It's this type of yarn with little bits on it. So I've made a good start on the crocheted baby blanket, and there's no more of this pink left, but I've got a blue round to do, which might get me 1 or 2 rounds. And then I have a couple of balls of lemon. So that's going to be jolly and an easy make. And I'll say a bit more about those in a moment. The middle panel, the middle granny square, is not fancy yarn. I call this fancy yarn because I couldn't knit with this because it's got all these little bits on, but I can just about get away with crocheting. But the middle panel is just straightforward acrylic. And I discovered, having a rummage, a pile of granny squares that myself and my partner made 5 years ago. Anyway, these were stored away. That's not a granny square. I don't know if that was learning how to do granny squares. But there's a little pile of these which will come in for centres of the granny square blankets. I'm not, never say never, but I don't think I'm going to sew these together to make a blanket. I don't know. I may. See how many's there. And I think I have some more of that blue. Not sure. It's just acrylic, which I think came from my late mother's stash. But we made these, like I said, perhaps 5 years ago. And like I said, I'm not a proficient crocheter. We were just having a bit of fun learning. Andrew wanted one of those big, colourful crochet blankets. And when we moved into this house, we've been here, I don't know, a year and 5 months. The previous owners left us a massive coloured crocheted blanket, which perhaps I'll add a photograph here. I'll see if I can access the photograph. And at the moment, I think I did wash it because they had 2 very furry cats. And I've put it away for now. But Andrew's quest to have a crochet blanket has been fulfilled. And it's a very pretty, bright one. But as I said, I've put it away for now. We are going through room by room decorating. So I may use those as centres and to start off some more granny square blankets, you know, the big ones. So I'm also making, and in my rice bag, which I love, and my granddaughter was here at the weekend, and she was doing this. She was having it, and she was doing this, slinging it over her shoulder, saying she was packing all her things for holidays. It was so funny. She just over her shoulder. Anyway, she's 3, full of imagination. So I'm also making the cardigan, just with quite fine double knit acrylic yarn. And I've just gone on to the white. And this is Oh Baby cardigan. Again, a free download off Ravelry. All knit on a circular needle, no sewing up. Suits me. The button band is sewn as you just do knit stitch and then knit stitch on your purl row. So that's going to go with the crochet blanket, and I'll also make a a knitted little baby hat. And I've said this before, I donate them to a knitting group in the village. Well, I pack them up, and here's the one from last week. So pack them up with a bow in cellophane, ready to head to a maternity hospital. So I have this one. I'll tell you while I'm smiling now. I have this one, Cardi hat, which I finished last week. And I have this pink one, which I finished ages ago, but I haven't been to the knitting group, and I've got 2 to donate now. They only meet once a month, but I go into recluse mode and I don't get myself out. So I've got to kick that habit and get out a bit more. So I've got 2 to drop off now. So I really must try to go this month and drop off these. I don't think I'll have the other one ready to go as well. But baby packs ready to be donated to a local hospital, maternity hospital. If only I could get to the group. Anyway, I've got to try and get out more. So that's that. And tick that off. So what I want to do now is just a little bit of a story about something I was going to make this week. This is the last bit of today's vlog. Something I was going to make last week, but I decided not to. Just if I can find the fabric, excuse me. So I made a couple of weeks ago a sun hat for our granddaughter, which I was pleased with, and it's now gone to nursery, and it's left at nursery for the sunny days. She's a cochin, redhead, so we really like her to have a hat on. Cochin is Welsh. Coch, red, pen is head. Cochin. Anyway, I have a small piece of really vibrant vintage fabric from my mother's stash, my late mother's stash. And this is from the 1960s. That I'm sure it's 1960s. My memory is all a bit hazy. So here's the piece of fabric. It's only small, but I would probably get a little brimmed hat. So I showed it to her, and she wasn't that enamoured. She has particular favourites, she says, of colours. And I thought, oh, she'd like that. But she wasn't that enamoured. So I'm not going to make her the hat out of that. I'm going to save that for myself and perhaps make a project bag or something, because it is quite precious. It's the only, that's the only little bit I've got, and it is quite funky. So I might save that for myself. But what I wanted to add here is a little story about my mother, who was a maker, crochet, sewing and knitting. And when I was 8, I remember vividly having to be in a fashion show. My mother would go to a sewing group. I think it was a Tuesday night. And they had a fashion show. And I think, as I recall, I was all up for being in the fashion show. And when the day came, I was terrified. We had to walk across the floor of the main hall in the local grammar school. And I was 8, and I remember crying. I wouldn't do it. Anyway, I just wanted to add this little memory, and I'm going to add the photograph here of me walking across the hallway. Absolutely terrified. And I do remember I was crying, didn't want to do it. I did have some sweets and I did do it. But the look on my face, perhaps I won't add the photograph because you can see it here. Oh my gosh, I was scared. And there's another one, which I'm doing like the smile. The dress was not velvet, red corduroy, and I was 8, so 1968, and they had invented colour photographs. And I thought I had a coloured one of me standing in our garden. Whether or not I'll find that, I don't know. I just wanted to add that little story about my mother sewing. And I remember her going to the sewing group and me being in the fashion show, not liking it. My mother did work in a factory called Polycoffs in Treorchy in the Rhondda before she married, and she loved that job, making suits, and I think she used to get them discount for my granddad, but she loved that job, and I suppose as was the way back in the day, she didn't work there after she was married. And Polycoffs only closed perhaps 6 years ago. I think it was taken over by Burberry and sadly closed now. But there was a clothing factory in Treorchy in the Rhondda. So that's most of the vlog for today. Thank you for watching. Somebody kindly commented, have I added up my makes? Not yet. I was going to, but I never got around to it. But in a couple of weeks, I am away. So what I may do is try and do like a recap video. So I have something to put out on a Monday of the things I've completed. And I think I've got through quite a lot. And I look forward to doing the vlog and the little bit of editing. I don't want to do loads of editing because I'd rather be making or doing jobs in the house. But it's nice to see what you've made, and the vlog has really motivated me to finish stuff, start stuff, and it's great. Making is good, isn't it? Making is really positive. So I'm going to wish you good day now and say bye for now. Look after yourselves. Hope you get some stitching done, and I will see you again hopefully next week. Bye for now.